Hi and welcome to Code with Stein. This is part 4 of building a time tracking SaaS using Django and Vue. In this part I'm going to make it possible to add and edit tasks and projects. And first I'm going to fix a few things from the previous videos. So first I'm going to add the color to the navigation bar. So if I just open up base.html and up here we reset the navbar class, we first can check if request.user is authenticated, because then I want to use the class isDark, else I want to use the class isLight. So when you're authenticated you get a much darker navigation bar. And if. So if I just go back to the browser now and refresh, you'll see that the menu up here is dark. Perfect. And if I just log out, you will see that it's light gray. Great. So now I can just set this to done. It's just a small task. And I want to show the user profile inside the admin area. To do this, I can go into admin.py, import Django, import models, and register. Admin.site register, user profile, and from .models import user profile. So now we can access this if we log into the admin area. Perfect. So now I can set these first tasks to done. And then I want to continue by creating a new app and model for the projects. So I can go back to the command line, stop the web server and say mkdir apps project, and then I create the actual Django app, python manage.py, start app, project, apps/project, and hit enter. And then before I forget it, I need to register this with Django. So I go into settings.py and append it to the list here, apps.project, and save. I can just close the settings files for now, and then I can create the model. So if I just find the project up here, go into models.py. First I can import some things from Django. Already have imported the models, but I want the user as well. From django.contrib.auth.models import user. This way I can reference who created a certain project. Import models, because the project needs to be connected to a team as well. So from apps.team.models import team, and then the models. First I can create the class project, pass in models.model. First I can set up the reference to the team equals models.foreign key, team, related name is project, so you can easily get this, and on delete models.cascade. So when you delete a team, we also delete all of its projects. Then I want the title, models.char field, max length can be set to 255. And then I want a reference to who created it. Created by equals models.foreign key, user, related name, projects, on delete, models.cascade. So we are never going to actually delete the user, we just set them to not active or something like that. And then I want to know when we created a project, models.datetime field, auto now add equals true. So this is automatically filled out. And then I want this to be sorted alphabetically. So I need to add a meta, some options, ordering, title. Then I want a string representation of this object, def, str, self, return self.title. And then I want two custom functions here, which I'm going to use later in this part and also later in this project. First I want to get create one function for getting all the registered time on a certain project. Def registered time self. Right now I can just return 0 because we haven't got any time on this anyway, but I like to create the function anyway. And I also want a way to get all of the tasks, but we don't have any tasks yet either, but I can create it. Def num tasks to do self, so I get number of tasks which has the status to do. Return 0. It's going to look like this: self.tasks.filter status equals task.todo.count. I'll show you how this works soon, or later in this part at least. So now I can update the database. Python manage.py make migrations, and Python manage.py migrate. Great, so I can run the server. I can also import the project model and show it in the admin interface. Import Django, import models from .models, import project, register, admin.site, register, project, and save. So now I can set this task to done, and then I'm going to create a template for showing all of the projects. So inside this app, we create a new folder, templates, projects, and inside there, no, sorry, it was supposed to be called just project, and then a new file called projects.html. I want this to extend the base template as well. Extends core/base.html, block title, projects, pipe, and block, block content, and block. And I can also go into one of these others from the theme and just copy the breadcrumb and the title like this. So I can remove this one, and I don't have a URL for this yet, so I can just set this to the title and project, projects, plural of course, div, like that, projects app, and save. So now we have a simple template, and we can create the view for this. So first we need to import a few things from Django. Import Django. I want the render function, but I also want the redirect and get object or 404. And I want to show messages here if we have any from Django.contrib import messages. And I want the login required decorator from Django.contrib.auth.decorators import login required. Import models. Here I want the project and the team from .models import project, and from apps.team.models models import team. And then I can create the view. First I want the view for projects. I need to add the login decorator. Def projects, projects, request. First I want to get the team. Get object or 404, pass in the team, and then pk is the request.user.userprofile.active team ID. And I also want the status to be team.active, so we don't have a deactivated team or something similar. Projects, I get them by saying team.projects.all, and then return render request, project/projects.html. Then I want to pass in team and projects, so we have these available in the front end. and save. I want to extend this soon, and also a template. I just want to test that everything is working. So I want to create a new separate URLs file here as well, urls.py. Import Django from django.urls. Import path. Import views from .views. Import projects. URL pattern. URL patterns equals like that. Path, just set this to empty because we want to prefix this when we include it. Projects, and the name is also projects. Here we also want to use the use a namespace, so we can set app name equals project and save. So the last step now before I can test this is to go to base.html, and up here we can say else, because this will only show when we are authenticated. href URL project, which is the namespace, and projects, which is the name of the view. Class nav bar item projects and save. Okay, so we don't have any errors. If I refresh now, okay, now I got an error, not a registered namespace. No, because I forgot to include this once again. Minutos URLs. So you can say dashboard because we want to use multiple things here. Path projects / include apps.project.urls and save. So now this is working perfect. If I click projects now, I will get the breadcrumbs and the title. Perfect. So then I can go back to projects.html and do some modifications here. Below the title, I want to create a button to open up a modal window to where you can create new projects. At click, so when you click this, we show the model. Show add project modal equals not show add. So when you click this, we set this from false to true or true to false. Class button is success. Add project. And then before I continue, I can just add some JavaScript down here. Block scripts and block const projects app equals create an object data return. Then we set this to be false from default, and I need to add a script tag around this. And create a new Vue app. Vue.createApp projects app.mount #projects app. Okay, save. Just refresh, see that we don't get any errors. No, everything looks okay, perfect. And I can add some few more properties here. Title can be empty, show error can also be set to false. Need to add the delimiters like this, and a method for validating the add project form. Validate form, pass in the E so we get the event. If this.title, then we can return true. If not, this.show error should be set to true, and E.prevent default and return false. So we stop the form from being submitted. And then at the bottom here, below this column, because that is multi-line. Actually, I want to create a div to just wrap everything in here. Div ID projects app, so we have everything inside one big div. Oops. Then we close it. Perfect. And then below here I can create the modal. Div class modal. We bind the class attribute to show another class is active if show add project model is true. So if this is true, is active, it will be appended to the modal there. Div class modal background. And then below here I create a form which is going to wrap around everything inside here. Form method post action dot, and at submit we call the validate form function we just created. In here I first add the CSRF token, so everything will work when we submit the form. Div class modal card, div class modal card header, p class modal card title, add project. You can save this and just test this. Okay, get an error. Unexpected bracket. Yes, of course, I forgot to close this like that. Refresh. If I click this now, I will get the, you can see add project here a little bit, but it will be fixed soon. Okay, this was supposed to be a modal card head. Refresh. And now you'll see a little bit better. Perfect. And then below here, div class modal card body, div class field label title, div class control, input type text, name, title, ID underscore, title, v, model, title, so we bind it to this field. And if there are any errors, we can show them below this field. Div class notification is danger, and I only want to show it if error, show error is true. V if show error. And then the title field is missing. And then below the card body, we say footer class modal card foot, button class button is success. This is the submit button. Submit. And then button class button at click. And here we do the exact same thing here, so you can get a cancel button. Cancel, like that. Save. If I now refresh, you'll see that you have a cancel button, and if I click it, the modal goes away. Forgot to add a class input to the input field. Perfect. So now everything here is okay, but yes, title field is missing. Yes. Okay. No notification. Sorry, there was another error there. Like that. Perfect. And then the next step is to create a backend so we can receive this data. So in here we can say if request.method equals post, then we know that the form was submitted. Title equals request.post.get title. If title, so we just see that everything is okay. And then we can create a new project here by saying project equals project.object.create, and team equals team, which is a reference to this one. Title equals title, created by equals request.user. When that's done, we can return the user back to the project's page. Return, redirect, projects, and save. So now we can test this. Okay, reverse for projects not found. project colon projects, refresh, project 1, submit. Okay, it was redirected here, so hopefully the thing is working. So now I can change the template here to also list out the projects. So in here, below these buttons, we create a new div class, columns, for project in projects. If this is empty, we want to show a message, empty. Div class, column is 3. Div class, notification, no projects yet, and 4. And in here we create one more div class is 3. Div class notification here as well. H2 class is size 5. Oops. Project title. P class, whoops, sorry, again. P class is size 7. Registered time. Project.registered time. This is the function we created inside here earlier, but there are no data yet, but we still can show this. Can copy this, and then we say tasks, project.num tasks to do, which is the other function we created. Just close this. Below here, HR, so you can separate this to a button. href, which can be empty for now. Class button is success. Details and save. Okay, so now we have a few projects here, so I guess that was created when I did some testing. But everything seems to be working as it should. Perfect. So I can go back to the to-do list, set this to done, and then we can create a detailed view of a project. We can begin by creating the view at login required, def project request, and here we need a project ID as well. First we can get the team, so we know everything is okay. Project equals get object or 404, pass in the project model, team is team, and primary key is reference to this one. Then we can return render request project / project.html, pass in the team and project, and save. So now I can import this, just append it behind here, and path, integer, project ID, project name is also project, and save. So now we can change the link here, URL, project, project, namespace, and then the name of the view, and then just project.id, save. So if I refresh now, I should be able to click this, and I get the template doesn't exist yet because we haven't created it. So I can begin by copying this, just create a new file, save it, project.html, paste in. Here we can show project.title up in the browser. You can copy this, remove this from the projects, and we can show the project title here as well. URL, project, and project.id. We can close this, so it's done, and block. Rename this to project-app. So if you now refresh, everything looks good. Perfect. So now I can add the title, div class, columns, and div class, column, h1 class, title, project.title. Save, refresh, and now we see the title of the project there. Perfect. This can also be linked to URL projects. No space there. Refresh. Project, projects. Refresh. Okay, so now everything there's work. So now I can set this done, and then I can make it possible to edit a project. So once again, I can go back here. I can copy these lines, just append edit project here, because we need a project ID, we need a theme, and we need the project. Then we can see if the form is submitted. Okay, copy this. We can also get the title like this. If title, and if the title is okay, we just say project title equals title project.save, and then we can return the user back to the project. Return redirect project project ID equals project.id. But if it's not a request post, we need to show the template for editing. Return render, pass in the request parameter, then project/edit project.html. Here we need the theme and the project, and save. Okay, and then I can import this into the URLs file like that. Okay, copy this, just replace the name and the view, and append edit behind there, and save. So then inside the project we can add a new button here, href URL edit project, and pass in project.id. Class button is warning, so it's yellow. Edit project, and save. If I refresh now, get an error. Forgot to add this again. Always forget the namespace. Refresh, and now I have the edit project. I haven't created a template yet, but that was expected. So I can copy all of this, paste it, edit project.html. Okay, before I do anything more, I just want to go back to views.py, and here I want to say messages.info request. The project was added, so we get the message when we create a new project. Okay, perfect. But we need to do some changes here. To edit project, set the title, edit project. Can remove this button, and this is not supposed to be the active one, because that's edit project. Edit project, and this should not have the active class. So if I save now, refresh, we'll see edit project, and we get the whole breadcrumbs up here. Perfect. Okay, so below here I can create the template, the form for editing. Div class columns. Div class column is 4, so it's not so wide on the screen. Form method post action dot, pass in the CSRF token. Div class field label title, then we create a field for this. Div class control input type text, name, title, ID title, class input, and value is project.title. Then below we need a button for submitting the form. Div class field, div class control, button class button is success. Save changes. So now we can save this, refresh, and you can see this that we get the title in here. So if I just say project 1b, save changes, the project was added. That's not correct, but at least everything seems to be working because it was renamed to 1b. So I just need to change the info here. The changes was saved and save. Perfect. But I can copy this and paste it below there. And here I can say the project was added and save. So now I can set this to done. Okay, and then I can continue by creating a new model for the tasks. So I want this to be inside the project app as well. So I'm going to models.py, create it down here, class task, models.model. I want to reference to the theme as well, so I can copy this, just replace this with tasks, and I can copy it one more time because I want to reference to the project tasks, and I want the title, so I can copy this, paste it down there, and I want the created by and created at, so I have references to this. Great. And I want one more field, which is the status. So I need some variables up here. Status choices, to do, done, and archived. Then I need to create a tuple for this. Choices, status, to do, label, done, archived. Great. And then I can add it at the bottom here. Status equals models.char field. Max length can be set to 20. Choices equals choices status. And default can be set to do. So when you create a new to do, it has to do as the automatically status. Class meta, we need to change the ordering to minus created at, so we get the newest one at the beginning. And I want the string representation here. Def str self return self.title. And here I also want a function for getting registered time. Def registered time self, but this can just be return 0 for now. Great. So now I can update the database. Sorry, I did something wrong. It's supposed to be a comma. Make migrations. Yikes. Sorry, tasks. Of course. So now it's going to create a new model called tasks. Migrate. Then we can run the server again. Then I just want to import this as well to the admin interface. Admin.site register task. So if you log into the admin area now, we will both see project and tasks. Perfect. Now I can set this to done. Okay, so now I want to show a list of tasks on the project page. So if I just go to views.py and in project function, I can do some changes here because I'm going to accept, I want to receive data here when we submit the form. So if request.method is post, title equals request.get title. If title, now we can create a new task. And to create a new task, you need to import the model as well up here. I'm going to scroll down, create it by saying task equal task.object.create. Theme is theme, project is project, which is references to these two variables. and title is title. The status is set automatically. Now I can just return this user back to the project page. And I can copy this return from down here. And I can add the message, messages.info, request, the task was added. And then I want to get the tasks so we can show them in the project page. Tasks, to do, I want 2 different lists. Project.tasks.filter status equals task.todo. So this is a reference to this variable up here, this one. And then tasks done is project.task.filter status equals task.done. Then I can append these here so we can use them in the front end. And tasks done. And save. So now I can go into project.html and down here I can say div class columns is multi-line because there are going to be multiple lines of columns. First I want to check that if there are not done tasks and not to do tasks. If not tasks to do and not tasks done, then I want to show a message here, div class columns, div class column is 3, div class notification, b no tasks yet, and if, and save. So if I now refresh this, go into a project, you'll see no tasks yet. Perfect. But there's something else wrong here. I can just cut this out, paste it on the outside there, save, refresh. Yes, no tasks yet. Great. First I want to check if there are any to-do tasks. If tasks to do, div class column is 12, h2 class is size 4 to do, and then below here I loop through them for task in tasks to do, div class column is 4, div class notification, h3 class is size 5, task.title. And then below there, HR, and here I want to add a link to the detail button, details, H class button is success, and for, and if. And I can copy this to show the tasks that is set to status done, done. Save. None of this will show because we don't have any tasks yet. And that's the next step. So first I can just set this to done. And then I want to make it possible to add tasks. So inside project.html, at the bottom here, I create a new div class modal, column class is active, show add task modal, close this, and then in here add div class modal background, and I'll wrap everything inside the form method post action dot at submit validate form like that, and then add the CSRF token. And I can actually just go into the projects and copy some of this because it's kind of similar. So I can copy all of the modal card. and like that. Yes, just need to copy this, replace these two, and add task. Okay, and then I can go in here as well and copy the scripts, paste it, replace with project app, replace, and also this variable need to be changed. Save, and up here I need to create a button just like we did in the projects page. So I can go in here as well and copy this, copy, paste it here, add task. Then I need to get the name of the variable down there, replace, and save. So if I now refresh, I get the add task button there, and if I click it, I'll get this form. Perfect. Can add a div class buttons around these two. So we get some space between them. Perfect. And since everything is okay in the back end, I can click add task, test task 1, submit, and then it's redirected back here, which means that it was probably working. Perfect. So now I can go back here, set this to done, and then I want to show a detailed view of a task. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to my Patreons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link to my Patreon in the description below. So at the bottom here, you can say @login required because we're going to begin with the view. Def, task, request. Here I want the project ID and then the task ID. And I get these two like this. And task equals get object of 404 task. Primary key is task ID, which you get from up there, and team equals team. So we know that we only get tasks from this team. And then return render request project /task.html, and I can pass in team, the project, and then the task, and save. Now all of these should be available in the front end. So now we can copy the name of that, append it there, copy this, and then say int task ID. So we get two integers here, task, and name is task. Save. So then I can go back here again, and we have this button to the details. You can say AAGRF URL project : task, pass in the project.id and then the task.id. I can copy this and add it below here. So I have it for both the to-do tasks and done tasks, and save. So if I refresh now, nothing has changed. So that's kind of weird because we should have a to-do task here. Request post, sorry, I need to say request.post.get, of course. So if I just go back here now, refresh, say task 1, submit. Okay, we got an error here now because I didn't set the created by, which is okay. I can just append created by equals request.user and save. Refresh, continue, and now we have the task here. And if I click it, I will be sent here, but the template hasn't been created yet. Okay, that's good. So I can go here again now, the project, and I can copy the top here. Save it as task.html, task.title, and then end block, task.title, copy this, task.title, task, project ID and task.id, task.id. This should not be active. So hopefully now everything here is okay. Perfect. So now I just need a template and a view to edit the task, but I can set this to done, so that's okay. Inside the views.py, I create one more view now at login required def edit task, and I can copy all of this because I'm going to need everything here. Just replace the title, now the template name, with edit task. So then I can copy this again, go back here, import, copy, edit, just append it at the bottom now of the end there, replace, save, and inside task here I can create a button, href, URL, project, edit task, pass in project.id and task.id. Class button is warning, edit task, and save. So I can refresh now, see the edit task button. The edit task template has not been created yet. Of course not. So I can copy the edit project because everything is very similar. Copy the contents, paste, edit task.html, edit task, task.id, edit task, and here we want the task.title. Okay, set this, save this, refresh, and now we see the template. So then the last thing we need to do now is to just check here if the form was submitted. So we paste this, and we get the title, and we can say if title, then task.title equals title, task.save, and then we just return the user back to the task page. So project:task, project ID is project.id, and task ID is task.id. Like that. Sorry if my face is in the way, I don't see this myself. Fresh, task 1b, save changes, perfect. So I just want to add a message here, messages.info, request, the changes was saved. So I can try this again, save changes, yes, perfect. Okay, so now it's time to wrap up this part of the series. Thanks for following along, and I hope that it wasn't too much back and forth. If you liked it, please click like and share below. If you want notification when the next part is published, you need to subscribe to my channel and remember to click the bell. In the next part of this series, we're going to make it possible to start tracking time. So, see you next time.